On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we are continuing our college basketball previews. We are doing numbers. Ooh, this is tough. 75 through 51, I believe.
That's
is
it.
That right?
I think
this
that
is
is
part
it.
2. So that would be, we did 100 through 76. Yeah. Just want to make sure I get the numbers right, Tate. But that's what we're doing. What do we call this? The things to watch in college
Yeah,
basketball? Who knows?
top 100 things to watch. It used to be top 100 teams. We've pivoted from that. Now it's things to watch. And the funny thing about talking about things to watch is that you have to keep up with the things that you've already covered because we're trying to get all the teams covered through other things. It's actually made it more complicated. We
It's
thought
a
this would be
very
easier.
well, and also in these unprecedented times we live in, Tate,
yes.
these times of coronavirus, the list is ever changing. It's we have our list put together, and then suddenly one day of news happens, and you're like, oh my god.
Yes,
Wow.
that is
All
now
right, well,
number 69. We have to update.
I guess we got to update everything. We start at 75 with a Veterans Day special, Tate. Veterans Day was this week. It was, I believe, let me get my days correct. It was Tuesday. It was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. It was yesterday. It was 11/11.
It was It's always 11/11. How about that? That's interesting. So in honor of Veterans Day, we are starting number 75 with the Tate Frazier special, the military school special. We are talking about the Furman. How do you pronounce their
Paladins?
Paladins. I always want to say like Palladians for some reason.
Well, it's like the Palladium, which is the venue.
Yeah,
but these are the Paladins, and for the people that are new to the
pals?
program,
is it pals for sure?
Yeah, these are our pals.
These are our
pals. For friends of the program or pals of the program, you remember once upon a time I pointed out to the world
it was 2 years ago when Furman got ranked for the first time.
Yeah, they were number 25, and I said, shout out to that military school down in South Carolina. Of course, the military school that I spoke of was the Citadel. It was not Furman. Wires were crossed there. But then if you look it up, if you look into it, Furman has an ROTC program that started in the 50s. And in fact, if you go in from the ROTC program at Furman, you go into the military, go into the Army, you get a little patch. You get a little Paladin patch, and they call it the Paladin Battalion. And you can be in the Furman Paladin Battalion. So technically, by those terms, it is a military school.
It's military adjacent, we'll say.
Yeah. This is my quad A green 30-point game. This is where I called my shot. It didn't quite work out, but they've had 115 wins the past 5 seasons as a basketball program. They have one of the up-and-coming coaches that people are looking at in Richie. And they have a 41-year NCAA tournament drought. So there's people that want to see Furman succeed. I am right in there, and I apologize again. Not a military school.
Just give it time. Eventually, they are going to be a military school. I think you're going to be right. Like, you're going to be like 91 years old. And
it is South Carolina. They're always strapped. They're ready to go. So who knows?
You're going to be proven right. So Furman was picked in the media poll for the SoCon, is what we call it, the Southern Conference. They were picked first, Tate. They were picked to win it this year. As you said, they have a good program going. They've won, I think, 20. They've had 4 straight 21 seasons. They've won 25 games in back-to-back seasons. Their head coach is named Bob Ritchie, which when I hear Bob Ritchie, I basically picture Bob McKillop. Like, I picture a guy that is like old as hell, has been there forever, like is the only coach that they've ever had. They started the basketball program in 1969, and then this guy was Bob Ritchie was hired. He
brought the game to the school.
Yeah. No, not the case. Bob Ritchie, he's 37. So Bob Ritchie is a name we should probably get to know in college basketball circles, because I imagine someone's going to drop a fat bag for him very soon.
Yeah, there is Wes Miller versus Bob Ritchie to see which SoCon coach can get plucked into the big leagues and, be a rousing success. They're both coaches. I think Ritchie's 37, Wes Miller, same
also
thing.
37. Yeah.
Oh, he is 37.
Yeah,
exactly. So they are competing right now to be the hottest young coach in America. And, that's why Furman, yes, it's a funny military school joke. We want to shout out to the veterans, of course, which is not a joke. But then looking back, on all this, the rivalry is there. We had SMU, TCU, and now we have maybe Furman.
Be careful. Don't say that. We'll ruin
They'll never play each other again after this.
Furman also, they lost some guys, but they also returned 4 starters, and I can name them for you if you'd like. But
yeah, I would love that.
They returned Noah Gurley. They returned Clay Mounts. Alex Hunter's back. So
wow, big.
And then,
that's big.
Jalen Slauson also returned. So you got those 4 guys. I think that's when you talk about Furman basketball, I think it starts right there with those 4. And and of course Bob Ritchie at the helm. So Furman.
Yeah, that's a contending team, a team to keep an eye on for sure.
Moving on, number 74. I don't know how to package this. We want to talk about Chris Collins in Northwestern. I guess like the way the bullet point I would have here, Tate, is as I do a 30,000-foot view of Chris Collins, I ask you this question: is he stuck? Like, what is Chris Collins' long-term play? Because it feels like the cement is drying at Northwestern to where like he's not really a hot name anymore. He's not getting the Duke job. If we're doing the Coach K successor, he is not near the top right now. But also, like, is he going to get fired from not this year, but like Northwestern, you have a long leash. He made the term. He's going to be around forever. But I'm just curious, like, because when he took over Northwestern, I don't think he's going to turn Northwestern into the Duke of the Midwest. I also don't think he's like a hot commodity that people are going to want. What is the long term play? What do we do if you're Chris Collins here?
The long term play is what he's doing right now, which is called the waiting game. Which is I am going to sit here and wait until Coach K and Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim and the ilk above him, the class that taught him the game, gets out of the game. And then he hopes that by that point, all proxy goes to him to be, seniority basically is what he can call at that point. He could still be at Northwestern. That point, he has built a tradition. Like you said, the leash gets longer and longer.
Do we want what tradition is he building?
The tradition is that he's been there, and then people will go there and be like, Chris Collins has been here for 17 years, and then he can be like Coach K and see if it pops at some point. But the game that he's playing is the waiting game. And right now they have Miller Kopp, who is a first-team All-Big Ten type of player, a guy that can get people to watch games, a guy that can convince them that maybe this is the year they go back. And I say that again, emphasize, go back to the NCAA tournament because Chris Collins did do that. He did do that, though. He did do that. Yeah, he did do that.
Miller Kopp is very good. He's got some Duncan Robinson vibes for those who are wanting to be ahead of the curve. But yeah, Northwestern is not good, and Northwestern is not going to be good. And I'm just curious because, like, you thought when Northwestern made the tournament, you thought that was the stepping stone into something greater. And Chris Collins throwing out too many first pitches at Wrigley? Is this a problem?
Chris Collins is the 5-star. He's the 5-star freshman that should be a one and done that decides to come back to school.
Ooh,
and now he's James Michael McAdoo. Yeah,
now
he's looking around.
4 years. Yeah,
and he's either got to go now and try to make the leap to another middling job. Maybe even Wichita State. Maybe he puts his name in there if he wants to try to make a run out of town. Yeah. But like you said, the value's not there anymore.
We have that at 74 on the list. Keep an eye on that, folks. Just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, all I know is Matt Darty heard that, and he was like 8-23. Like that's worse than me.
Bad.
Yeah. All right.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. All right, number 73. This is a guy probably should be higher on the list, but we're going to start with one guy, and then we're going to extrapolate it out. The first name is Sampson, and it's Kelvin Sampson. And it is the Houston Cougars. And you have a point that you want to make, number 73. People forget Quentin Grimes is at Houston.
Yeah.
Former 5-star. We saw him classically when we saw Tyler Hero for the first time, when we saw Zion for the first time. We also saw Quentin Grimes. And if you polled us that night, we would have probably told the world, I don't know about much, but I do know that Quentin Grimes will be in the NBA. Not quite. Quentin Grimes is at Houston.
Not yet.
Going into his junior year, and they have a bunch of good guards. We'll get to that. But first, Quentin Grimes in Houston at 73.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes is at Houston. He
say it one more time. Quentin Grimes is at Houston. Just let that marinate in your mind.
The Tyler Hero game that we love talking about so much. It was in Indianapolis. It was Zion and then versus Kentucky, and then the game after that we don't talk about quite as much was Kansas Michigan State.
Yep.
Quentin Grimes played out of his mind. Quentin Grimes had 21 points. He was 6 for 10 from the 3-point line. He had 4 assists. This was his first career game, Tate. It was a night full of 5-stars, a night full of young, hot, sexy new players that everyone can't stop talking about. And I walked away from that thinking Quentin Grimes might have been the best player I saw that night. And then him and Tyler Hero, just their careers dovetailed from there.
It was a Space Jam, like the powers were lost somewhere with the basketball, and somehow
it's like Tyler Hero and Quentin Grimes bumped into each other after that night and switched bodies, and then they've never looked back. And that's the. But no, so Houston is favored to win the AAC. Is that what we call it? We call it the American. Who the hell knows anymore?
Yeah, I think it's the AAC. Yeah,
the AAC. Quentin Grimes should be their best player, but last year he was up and down though too. That was the problem. So at Kansas, he started out hot. He goes up. It's a little up and down throughout the Kansas season. I've heard conflicting reports. I have heard that after his freshman season, he declares for the draft, which we know that to be true. But then when he pulled his name out of the draft to come back, depending on who you ask, he might have gotten LeGerald Vict, where he pulls his name to come back, and Self's like, "You're not coming back. I don't want you." And then that's why he transferred. But then other things say that like he was going to transfer anyway. I don't really know what the reality of the situation was, but he was up and down his 1 year at Kansas. Last year, he plays at Houston. Same thing, up and down. He had one game early in the season. He scores 32. A few weeks later, he scores 0. Then a few weeks after that, he scores 26 again. And it's just, I don't know. We're looking for some consistency of Quentin Grimes. But Houston's going to be very good. The team itself going to be very good. They have some guys back. Lost a few, bring some guys back. They're going to play great defense. They're going to have balanced scoring. And Kelvin Sampson's a great coach. So I think Houston's going to be good.
They have the best guards potentially. If you look at the whole group of guards that they have, some of the best, like the best package of guards in the country. And the name to really know, Quentin Grimes, we do know, like you said, he has the highs of 32 points against Rice, and then a 0-point dud. Caleb Mills is the guy. He's from Arden, North Carolina, 6'3" guard. He was basically led the Cougars last year, 13 points per game. Was the first one or second in school history to lead the team in scoring.
What other bullet points you got in the media guide there?
I'm going. Just keep rolling with me here. Here's a teammate.
His mother threw javelin.
Yeah. Oh, it's like this is how his game was described. It's like being at Benihana. You're waiting on your food and you're sitting there and the person's doing all the tricks with the food. I just love watching him play. Regardless, Caleb Mills is the star of this team. He was the sixth man last year. I think this year.
Quentin Grimes is the star. Quentin Grimes.
No.
Quentin, if you're listening, you are the best player.
No, Caleb.
Shoot the ball.
Caleb.
You have to be the
press
best
pause
player.
on his phone and now listen. You are the best player on this team. You are the 6'3" guard that everyone is looking to lead this program. No, but in all seriousness, Houston's a really good team. They also have the best tagline, which is Kelvin Sampson said this, and I wrote this down. Same goal, but different schedule. He said that's the mantra all season because things are going to change. And
I love coaches with mantras.
Same goal, but different schedule as things change with COVID, as they're going to be prone to do all year. The goal will remain the same, and I think that makes me want to buy into the Houston Cougars, and they have the guard recipe to succeed. So, congratulations, Kelvin Sampson. You figured it out at Houston.
There we go. 73, Quentin Grimes, Houston, and Caleb Mills, and other players that they have. But it's mostly the Quentin Grimes show. 72, I'm going to let you take this one because this one's near and dear to your heart.
Yes. This is number 72. It takes me back to a time at Chris Paul's camp where a young 14-year-old point guard was pointed out to me, and his name happened to be Seventh Woods. And he was wearing a jersey near and dear to my heart. It was number 23. And I said to myself, what is this? And it looked like Derrick Rose, but he was wearing 23, and he had Carolina blue shorts on. I had been told he wanted to play at North Carolina, and I'm losing my mind. I'm like, okay, this guy's the future. Not 6 months later, he's being asked to go on the Ellen DeGeneres show. LeBron James is losing to him on the ESPN SportsCenter Top 10. And the world is welcome to Seventh Woods. And immediately from there on out, he has been basically a child star, a Macaulay Culkin type, a guy that has been he has just been out and about in the world. And ever since then, every single guard that's been around him has been like, I am better than you. Whether it be, Tyus Jones, as I watch go at him head to head, or Dennis Smith Jr., whoever it was that went at him was like, I'm going to prove that I'm better than Seventh Woods. And poor Seventh Woods was like, look, all I did was just dunk all over people's faces. Frank Martin said it perfectly. He said, I don't know how he's done it, being a celebrity for this long. He goes to North Carolina. He basically gets taken over Kai Bowman, a guy that also wanted to go play at North Carolina, goes to Boston College, becomes a success, now is on the Warriors. All the guys that were his young OGs like Ja Morant and Zion Williamson are all currently in the NBA. And now Seventh Woods, after spending 3 years in North Carolina, Roy Williams at one time said, I would love to see Seventh. I see a lot of Fifth and Sixth Woods. He is finally home back in South Carolina. He is wearing 23, the jersey that he wanted to wear in North Carolina, and they had to remind him, hey, Seventh Woods.
That's not going to happen.
Michael Jordan wore that number. You cannot do that. Frank Martin's all in. It has not been confirmed that he is the starting point guard, but I say all signs point to yes. I think he's been pointed out on the team as the one remaining person left from the 2017 Final Four run, even though he wasn't on North Carolina or South Carolina's on North Carolina. So he's a leader in this locker room. Mm-hmm. This is his chance for Seventh Woods redemption. He's had big moments. He had it against Gonzaga in 2018 when they're number one in the country in the Dean Dome, 16 points. People forget. This is the time. 72 Seventh Woods redemption tour.
I'm
almost crying. I'm so proud.
I went back and rewatched the mixtape because that was your perspective, because you were like you're a guy who's very plugged into what's going on in the Carolina basketball scene. As a guy who was not living in the Carolina bubble, I knew Seventh Woods from the same way everyone else got to know him, which is the mixtape, the world famous mixtape when he's 14 years old, and it says Seventh Woods is in all caps the best 14-year-old in the country. Crazy athlete. Like the title itself like jumps out to you because you're like, are we ranking 14-year-olds? Like this was at a time, like now I guess it's not so weird, but like back then you're like, we're ranking 14. Is that what we're doing? We're ranking. Okay. I guess we're ranking 14-year-olds. And then you watch the mixtape. I rewatched it this morning. Still holds up. It still is insane to think like the guy doing that is 14. His crossover is hilarious. If you go back and rewatch it, he's like, he's got the mid 2000s, like the Skip to My Lou and One Generation influence where you're like
God Shamgon.
You're crossing over like way
Steve
above
Francis,
your head.
Baron Davis.
Yeah. His crossover is really, really sloppy, but the dude can sky. He's super athletic. It was a fun trip down memory lane to rewatch it. And I don't think Seventh Woods, he's, as you said, a lot of his peers have moved on to the NBA. He's kind of still stuck in college basketball, whatever. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's God's fault. I think it's I think it's he suffered from the same condition I did, which is called stop growing in 8th grade and never grow another inch again. And I think that's his problem, was that he was 6'2", dunking on people in 8th grade. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to be 6'8", just yamming on everybody. I am going to be so good at basketball. And then everyone else just starts growing around him. He's like, oh no, not like this.
Yeah. The worst part about it too is like Seventh, his family was so tight knit around him. Like they were so terrified that the fame was going to get to him that they protected him so much. And regardless, like people act like Seventh got like a big head or something that didn't work hard. It's like, no, he worked really hard. But like you said, just because you were dunking on people's heads when you're 14 years old, I mean, so was John Wall, you know, and like you never really know what it's going to be. But he got the most hype out of any mixtape, and I'm pulling for him.
There's this quote from Frank Martin. Seventh has been great. He said this last month right before practice started. Seventh has been great. Seventh is, and then he pauses and he says, I'm not into predicting, but I think he's going to have a real good year. So, you know, it's not a prediction, but Frank Martin believes the Seventh is going to have a real good year. So there's that.
And final stat, it's been 23 years since the Gamecocks won the SEC regular season championship for the first and only time. Wearing number 23, your Seventh Woods. The last time that happened, it involved a transfer from North Carolina who went to South Carolina to win it. Just saying.
Wow.
Now's the time. Wow. A lot of things connecting there. Seventh Woods.
That was like anything happens in the year 2020 and someone finds a way to like take the numbers of that thing happening and make it relate to Kobe Bryant somehow.
Yeah. They're like 8/24. You see it. Do the math.
I saw Alex Trebek died, and someone said he was 80, and Kobe wore number 10 on the USA team and number 8 for the Lakers, and 8 times 10 is 80. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
they're gonna make a mural. You're
really
like,
makes
okay.
you think.
Yeah, they really got me. Numerology, we love it.
This is also in your Carolina wheelhouse, number 71. I'll let you take it again. Go ahead.
We mentioned him earlier. He was the man that when the Wake Forest job opened up, we had a Wake Forest special on this program here. We tried to figure out what was going on with Wake. How do we wake the nation? A lot of people in the Wake Forest circles wanted a young and upcoming coach under the age of 40. In fact, ESPN said that the former Tar Heel Wes Miller was the number 1 coach under 40. We remember that poll. We don't like under 40 polls, but we remember that poll. Wes Miller, best upcoming coach.
I was left off of that one as well, by the way.
Yeah. Hate to see that.
I am very much.
Your name is
approach.
out there.
Yeah,
You're ready.
My name gets circulated a lot, and no one respects it. In the media, they don't respect it. In coaching circles, I'm very highly respected.
Well, you got to think about it. The media is competition, so they're not going to promote their fellow competition. So yeah, exactly. We'll send a message one day. But back to Wes Miller, who's sending his message by winning games at UNCG. He is basically on a tear right now to be the top name that people bring up as we have firings around big programs. Shaka Smart. So we'll see what happens with Wes Miller. But this year, Isaiah Miller, Defensive Player of the Year, Southern Conference Player of the Year from last year. He's back, 2.8 steals per game.
Any relation?
To Wes Miller?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. That is his son. No, I'm kidding. No, but Wes Miller, Isaiah Miller, that's a great duo to watch out for in the Southern Conference and also the NCAA tournament. So there you go, 71, Wes Miller.
Wes Miller, on a scale of 1 to 2, Tate, how many feet does Wes Miller have out the door, would you say?
I think 1 foot fully entrenched out the door. Let's say it's in snow. Okay. And the other toe is a wide receiver dragging his toe to make sure he gets 2 feet in. That's where his other foot is. It is dragging across the ground to take that final step.
It's still in, but it's dragging.
It's still on the ground. It has not left the ground yet. It is dragging, but as soon as he pulls up.
I can't believe he has been at Greensboro for 10 years. He's been the head coach for 10 years because he took over interim. So if you count the interim year where he took over like halfway through, this is going to be his 10th season at UNC Greensboro. That's enough. Like if he leaves Greensboro, you can't be mad at him. You got him for 10 years, you know?
Yeah, and it's also, we talked about the old generation of coaching where you could see like a guy had this experience and got hired at 26 and he coached somewhere for 10 years. Like Wes Miller actually got to have that old school experience. So when he is at some big program, you're going to look back and be like, man, this guy has a lot of experience. He coached at UNCG for 10 years. That's crazy. I never would have put 2 and 2 together, but he went and took that job so young, and he took a terrible job, to be quite frank. I mean, there was not much life in that program, and he completely turned it around. And
he's got to jump somewhere. He's got to. There's another stepping stone between UNC Greensboro and North Carolina Chapel Hill. So he's got to go somewhere, and it has to happen soon because Roy is getting old. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like, in all seriousness, he's got to have a foot and a half out the door because he's got to make that jump now. Because like that's what we thought Wake Forest was going to be, but maybe he saw that you can't jump from Wake Forest to North Carolina then. So maybe it is Texas. Maybe he goes to Texas for 4 or 5 years, and then he tries to go to Carolina. I don't know.
It's got to be like an Alabama or like a Vanderbilt or like a Texas or like a Missouri, a job like that.
What if he just follows Stackhouse? Like Roy retires. Stackhouse gets hired at North Carolina. Wes Miller goes to Vanderbilt, and then Stackhouse gets fired because North Carolina's like, yeah, this wasn't the answer. And then Wes Miller goes to North Carolina. Maybe that's the move. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
I love speculating on coaches. I love the coaching carousel.
We love the carousel. Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. All right. Speaking of coaches, I'm going to take this one. You took the last 2. This one's mine. Number 70 on our list. It's a PSA more than anything. Like, I don't actually want people to watch for that. When we say these are our top 100 things to watch for, do not watch this. I just want to call to everyone's attention that this is going on, that this is happening in college basketball. Billy Gillispie is a Division I college basketball coach, Tate. He is coaching at a school called Tarleton State, which it does not sound like a real school. I've known this for a long time. Like I've been aware of Tarleton State for months now, and every time I hear it or read it, I think it's a fake school. But it's not. And Billy Gillispie is their head coach.
We repeat, it is not. It is a real school.
If you're young, if you're not a college basketball fan, if you have a bad memory, whatever it is, and you don't understand why this is so ridiculous that Billy Gillispie, or maybe you just think Billy Gillispie was just like a bad coach, like he didn't win a lot of games at Kentucky, and like why? No. There is that. But let me give you the rundown. Number 1, Billy Gillispie has, since his coaching career began, he has 3 DUIs, which is 3 more than what you want. You don't want any. Most coaches, for me, my college basketball coaches.
Brought to you by NHTSA.
Yeah. I'm trying to have 0. This guy has 3. He abused his players at Texas Tech. He was accused of that. He was kind of the original Gregg Marshall. We'll get to him in a second. But there's a Jeff Goodman. Even Goodman did the report, I think, when he was at Texas Tech in like 2013 or something, about abusing players where he made players practice. These are all like the reports or whatever from the article. So I don't know how to legally frame this, so I don't. I'm just saying, whatever.
You're reading from an article.
Yeah.
These are not my words.
They practice apparently 4 hours a day, which is more hours than you're supposed to be practicing. One practice at Texas Tech goes for 8 hours one day, Tate, and a player on the team ends up getting stress fractures in both legs and has to miss the entire season because he has stress fractures because Billy Gillispie is running him into the ground. There's also this quote I found from an article. He also reportedly forced everyone in attendance the night before a game, including Texas Tech's TV and radio broadcasters, to participate in layup lines at the start of practice and run stadiums if they missed any shots. Can you imagine like being the Texas Tech radio guy and you got like you're out there, he makes you walk down from your little radio perch and you're shooting layups and you miss and he's like, run the stairs. And you're like, I'm sorry, what?
You're like, you're kidding, coach. He's like, no, I'm not.
I'm 58 years old. Like, what are you talking about? Run the stairs. He also, and this one hurts me the most. He pulled scholarships from players. Like he would promise them to come back for scholarships. Got you, bitch. Scholarship taken away. He also pulled job offers from, and the most notable example of this, he did Tom Coverdale dirty, Tate. Tom Coverdale, he promised him an assistant coaching job. Coverdale quits his job, shows up in Lubbock and is like, I'm here. Let's do it. Let's ride. But when he gets there, he's not given an assistant coaching job. He's given like an assistant strength and conditioning job for like half the pay. And anyone who does Tom Coverdale like that, you're on my shit list.
Yeah,
you're
forever.
Near the top. So screw him for that. He's also, the last 2 jobs he's had, he has both taken leave of absence for medical problems because he's got high blood pressure, kidney problems, he gets headaches, whatever. And also the last 2 jobs of being Ranger Community College, and before that was Texas Tech. He also committed NCAA violations at Texas Tech, and then junior college in JCAA or whatever it is, the junior college. Did that at Rangers College, which was the job he had before Tarleton State, where they had to vacate an entire season because Billy Gillispie was playing an ineligible player. Long story short, this guy sucks. Get him out of he doesn't even suck in a fun way. Like, it's not even fun. Get him out of here.
Yeah, we're not laughing. We're just pointing out. Yeah, we're just riddling off the facts and then pointing out this was the Kentucky head basketball coach before John Calipari. So as much as you want to make the jokes about John Calipari being a mess, or you think that he cheats, or whatever little conspiracy you think about John Calipari, the class that he portrays on an every single day is like million abound compared to what we saw with Billy Gillispie. And you pointed it and painted the picture very well. What the hell is he doing? Coaching college
players. He abuses coaches. He abuses the TV and radio broadcasters. He abuses fellow drivers
the Kentucky
on the road.
Brand. He abused the Kentucky brand. Think about that.
And he is now coaching Division I basketball, and I can't even get an interview. Are you shitting me, Tate?
In a word, how? Come on.
Next, move on. You take it. I need a breather here.
Yeah, take a breather, because we've come to a nice, beautiful, calming, relaxing place on the race to 69, and we've made it, folks. We got him back in the game. We spent a whole season with him abroad in Greece, not in our purview, not in our conversations, and we thought to ourselves, man, we lost one of the stalwarts of the game. Will we ever have a character quite like Tricky Ricky Pitino? And Tricky Ricky, just like we always hoped he would, comes back with a bang. He drops a podcast. He's got Casamigos sponsoring the whole thing. He lets people know, I am done. I am done with this. This is all corrupt. I don't want to be a part of this charade. I'm done coaching. And now, folks, against all odds, he's back at Iona, number 69, Rick Pitino. Back in college basketball.
Rick Pitino has overcome insurmountable odds.
So many odds.
The NCAA was conspiring against him. The Louisville was conspiring against him. Papa John was in on it. Everyone wanted to see this man fail. He had to overcome himself, because he did interview after interview, press conference after press conference, literally wrote an entire book that we did a book club episode on in a previous iteration of the show. Where he was saying, I'm done. This is it. He famously went on Dan Patrick's show and was asked, are you done coaching? And he said, yes, I'm done coaching. I wrote this book for closure. And then he was asked, would you hire yourself, Rick? And he said, no. Yes. He was all over the place. Point was, he did the whole farewell tour where he's like, "You'll never see my face again." And I guess he was just like going around America, going around these media stops, just waiting for someone to be like, "No, stop, please don't go, Rick." But no one did. He was just like, "I'm leaving. I promise I'm leaving." And everyone's like, "All right." So
and everyone's like, "What a ride, Rick! What a ride! Congratulations!"
Goes to Greece where he coaches for an owner who is basically a James Bond villain.
Yep.
We had John Gonzalez on the show to talk to us about that when he was in the thick of it when Pitino was over there. Then he gets hired at Iona, as you said. He is now at Iona, but there was the problems. They always follow this guy. The conspiracies always follow him. The moment he's hired at Iona, basically, he gets hit with the in-state violation from Louisville. Louisville hands down the judgment and says, like, you have these violations, Rick. And then also now we just got word that Iona is shutting down their program and their first 4 games are canceled because of coronavirus. So that's where we stand. But Rick Pitino, his quote when he was hired at Iona was, and this is important because I want everyone to we need proper context for what is his play here. He's going to Iona, like, is he trying to move on to something new? Like, what is he trying to accomplish here? And he said, for me, it's a way to end a career. It's the way I want it to end. I started early on at a small school that I deeply love, Providence College, and now I can end in a similar type situation at Iona, end a career that spanned over 40 years of professional college basketball. God willing, I have about 7 or 8 years left in coaching. I'm still as passionate as ever. There's no finer place to work than Iona College. So Rick Pitino has always been a forthright guy. Everything he said, he's always stuck to. And so it sounds to me like we can expect him to be at Iona for the next 7 to 8 years. I think that, and then he's going to retire. That's how, and he's going to retire for good. So
everyone reading that, all they saw was 7 to 8 years, which means if you're a top tier program, you're like, should we just go in for 4 years with Rick? It's kind of what happened with SMU with Larry Brown. You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to give him 4 years. We're going to see what this looks like. Why not make a splash and just see if it works? And Jim Valvano, Jimmy V, we all know the Jimmy V Classic. If you don't know, he was at Iona College, and you know that's where he kind of popped off. So there is some history there. They have some ties to college basketball success. So I don't necessarily knock the fact that Rick wants to be in New York and be at a small college and have full control and full reign without having to deal with the Papa Johns of the world. I get that. But for 1 year, come on.
Which brings us to number 68. Is Gregg Marshall actually getting fired, by the way? Because this is very confusing. The big bombshell hits like a month ago where Goodman says that Gregg Marshall is abusive of players. The most notable things are like he choked an assistant coach. He punched a player in the head after the player told him his mother had cancer. Other things were alleged that are equally awful.
Horrific.
And and you're just like, all right, get this guy out of here. A month passes. Gregg Marshall still has his job at Wichita State. And then this week, Goodman and others are now reporting that he's going to be fired by the end of the week. We are close to the end of the week. We're recording this on a Thursday afternoon. He's still not fired. I don't understand like the whole idea of announcing that you're going to fire him at the end of the week. Why not just fire him now in the announcement that you're going to fire him? Is Gregg Marshall fired?
It's a very fair question because we got the report, right? Well, first we got the report from Goodman breaking down the claims of the harassment that took place, and then we get the former players chiming in, and that whole 1 week, 2 week period, whatever it was, and then we get the this new report which says he's out, which is we've taken in the evidence. At first it was like we're going to stand by Gregg Marshall. Now we have the he's out. But the elephant in the room is that there's only one person or persons or brothers that have real control over what's going to be a decision that's made with Wichita State. It seems like there's been no word there. Gregg Marshall obviously wants to stay and make he's not going to just walk away from the situation. I mean, sound kind of familiar to the world. I mean, he's going to string it out for as long as he can until they tell him the final hammer and the gavel goes down. He's going to go and fight for his spot to stay at Wichita State. And the crazy thing to me is that I remember when, his name was being floated just for the NC State job. And there was like people that came back and said there's some red flags, and that, that was a red flag, like,
I wanted him to get the job that Chris Holtman got at Ohio State. When they fired Thad. I wanted him. I wanted, Gregg Marshall. Now, granted, at the time, I didn't realize he was a shithead.
Yeah, exactly. So he has a nice little like nest at Wichita State. So like he probably knows that if this ends, then there's no. I mean, we just talked about Billy Gillispie.
Yeah,
So
Billy Gillispie.
I mean, yeah, never mind.
Pitino and Billy Gillispie.
He'll probably be just fine. But like, you know what I mean? He's going to double down and try to hold it out. So the fact that there's been no definitive word is pretty.
I think
illuminating, but
I think
what
happened.
I would assume it's coming.
Wichita State put out the announcement because it just reads like the guy who was saying it. The Koch brothers were like sitting over there. He's like, we're going to fire. Okay, we're gonna fire by the end of the week.
Indefinitely.
We're gonna suspend indefinitely. We're gonna fire. What are we doing? What are we doing? I can't read your lips. You have to tell me what we're doing. That's how this whole thing.
Absolutely, 100%.
Anyway, let's assume it's true. He's fired. Gregg Marshall, done. Get him out of here. There's now a vacancy at Wichita State, one of the better programs in college basketball. I don't know where you want to rank them. Probably not blue blood. Maybe yellow.
Top
blood.
25 program. Yeah,
moving their way up. Tier 2.5 probably. So replacement candidates. Who are the emergency hire? Obviously, they could just hire within an interim guy to take over someone who's already on staff. Blah blah blah. Boring. Don't care. We want to have some fun speculating. So does Seth Davis, because Seth Davis threw out a name that put me on my ass. I was walking Moses. I'm walking him. I look down at my phone. I see the tweet, and I stumble backward. I am Larry David feigning. I could not believe what I was reading. That Seth Davis seems to think that Wichita State has a chance of hiring Thad Matta.
Yep.
Not at the end of the season. Not after this interim season plays out. Like at the end of the week when they fire Gregg
tomorrow.
Marshall. Yeah. That Thad, who right this second, it's a 50-50 shot whether he has a stiff drink in his hand and his feet kicked up and is just like watching whatever sporting event is on his television right now. He's going to throw that down and rush to Wichita to take over just a explosive, weird situation, a can't-win situation with a season that's about to start in 2 weeks during a global pandemic. I don't think so.
I don't think so. That sounds like a no to me, but it does sound good when you think about potential suitors or options, right? Because in a vacuum, you think to yourself, who could come in and handle such a divisive situation? Well, Thad Matta could. Thad Matta would be perfect for that. And like you said, in a vacuum, that would make sense. But in reality, Thad Matta is not thinking about that because Thad Matta's had chances to go to programs that are in much better situations.
I really thought he was going to take the Wake Forest thing. Yeah. I really,
so like
a lot of the other ones he gets linked to are bullshit. They never had a prayer. Like the Ole Miss, Ole Miss has been Kermit Davis ended up getting the job. It's been like talked about that they had him on campus and they almost hired that. I don't think he was ever going. He was never doing that. I think he just wanted to go check it out.
But if he's not going to go to nice Oxford, Mississippi, where he's going to be beloved and people are going to give him a long leash, he's not going to go to Wichita State where they expect to win now.
Yeah, I think weirdly enough, I do think he's attracted to the idea of the SEC because it's a football conference and he has experience at Ohio State coaching basketball in a football school, using those resources, having like a little smaller expectation, but like leveraging the football.
We talked about Georgia would be perfect.
Yeah, Georgia was he really did consider that one. That one was close. Wake Forest is the one. If Wake Forest had the money, I think if Wake Forest could have like just signed a blank check, he'd be the Wake Forest coach right now, I think. But anyway, he's not going to Wichita State. I don't see that happening. Danny Manning, how about him? He needs a job.
Yeah, Danny Manning would be a nice fill-in interim type to bring in and kind of bring some stability, create a culture that would make sense. Turgeon, we talked about, Kansas guy.
Turgeon, get out ahead of the Maryland. Just screw Maryland over. Like Turgeon should leave.
Yeah,
right now. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, get your $5 million a year deal,
and then watch all the Maryland fans be like, "What? No, come back. We actually didn't hate you." Yeah.
And then I'm like, who's gonna go to Maryland? I have no idea. That would be unbelievable.
Wes Miller. Goes to Maryland.
He would never get hired in North Carolina if he went to Maryland.
He could be in Maryland. But Wes Miller, Wichita State, that makes a lot of sense to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's a good stepping stone from UNC Greensboro. If he kills it at Wichita State and you're a Carolina fan, you have confidence in Wes Miller.
Well,
5 years from now, he's made like an Elite Eight and a couple Sweet 16s.
I think it endears it endears the community of Carolina too, because the Kansas ties. When you talk about Dean Smith, obviously you talk about Roy Williams going to Kansas and having his ties to the Kansas program. So at Wichita being in Kansas, it would make a lot of sense that they would like that. So
what about Rick Pitino? What about Rick Pitino take? Let's get to the nuts and bolts of this, which is the Rick Pitino sweepstakes. As we just got done saying, they are going to ramp up at the end of this season because you're out of your mind to think Pitino's not looking around trying to make his next move. Where are the candidates? Penn State, obviously, I think that stands out. But does Penn State's athletic department, would they take on a guy with questionable behavior? I don't know if Penn State, I don't know, an upstanding place like that, I don't know if they would invite that into their program. Wichita State's another one. Any other ones we should circle? What about Boston College?
I was gonna say it's definitely a Catholic Northeast school, which Boston College obviously falls into that realm. That could definitely work. I mean,
Georgia Tech.
I don't. I just
does
don't
have
see
to be a
him.
Catholic. I think Boston College might be the one.
Yeah, I think that's the only way he goes to the ACC. If it's Notre Dame or Boston College, where he can go to a Catholic school where he can just kind of run show, get back to his roots a little bit. I think Providence would be interesting too. If he ever wanted just to go back and get the full circle LeBron moment, I'm coming home to Providence. But
are you trying to fire Ed Cooley? Or
no, so I can't. Ed Cooley's too good. He's too good. So
okay.
All right, so he's going to Wichita, and
all right. Thank you. Jeez, I didn't like where we were headed there. All right, moving on. Greg, keep an eye on that. That's the thing to keep an eye on. Gregg Marshall, is he fired? Is he not? Is his career?
Yeah. What's happened in Wichita?
Yeah. Number 67 on our list.
So stupid.
I can't believe this is a real thing. Marshall Henderson is back at Ole Miss as a graduate manager. He is technically he's technically not on staff. Graduate managers aren't on staff, right?
No.
That doesn't count as staff. But
I think he's in school, right?
He's in school. What is he getting his graduate degree in? Psychology? Is that, remember, people forget he used to do psychology experiments on Twitter. If I think
what an era of weird college basketball. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I was in college with Marshall Henderson. I couldn't believe that it was happening. It was Johnny Manziel and Marshall Henderson happening at the same time. It was just what is going on here?
The psychology experiment excuse was the original. I got hacked.
Yeah. I'm just messing with y'all, running a little experiment. My bad. Y'all don't get it.
I rewatched today. So Vice made this little I don't know if documentary is the right word. It was like a 10-minute type video following Marshall Henderson when he was playing professional basketball in Iraq. And that basically sums up who Marshall Henderson is. That he was playing he was telling a story about a guy on another team in Iraq. There's a car bomb that went off right outside the hotel, and Marshall Henderson's not in a this is funny way, but just in I acknowledge that I'm out of my goddamn mind to be playing basketball here, and I'm just laughing through the pain kind of way. And you're just Marshall, get out. What are you doing?
I think that's the good news of the situation. Marshall Henderson has found his way home. He obviously is beloved in Oxford, Mississippi. The fans loved him. He was a great moment for Ole Miss basketball. I feel like if you were to ask people about Ole Miss, he probably is the name that would come up 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Just talk to the casual fan. So it's good to have characters back in college basketball. I don't know what he's going to do at actual games. Is he going to be behind the
fight the opposing team, I guess? Fight the fans, whatever.
Yeah. He was compared. Didn't people call him Marshall Mathers? He was Eminem. All the Eminem references. He is a wild boy.
Here are another few points for those who missed the Marshall Henderson experience the first time around. While he was at Ole Miss, or right before he got to Ole Miss, he transferred. First of all, he went to Utah, then transferred to Texas Tech, but then didn't even really stay at Texas Tech because he then went to some community college, and then from the community college to Ole Miss. He went to 4 schools in 4 years or 5 years or whatever it was. But before in 2012, he gets arrested or has to spend 25 days in jail because he violates his probation. Now, why was he on probation, you ask? Because he used counterfeit money to buy weed. Which is classic. Don't commit a crime while committing a crime, and he did that. So he got busted for that. Gets put on probation. Then he has to take drug tests while he's on probation. He violates his probation by testing positive for alcohol and weed, and cocaine all at the same time.
Triple threat.
Spends 25 days in prison or jail, I guess it would be. Comes out of jail, then balls out in the SEC, wins like the SEC tournament MVP or whatever, is like gator chomping at the Florida fans, popping his jersey at the Auburn fans, on and on and on. And then I was researching his run-ins with the law today, and I found this snippet from a story from back in the day, and I just wanted to share this because this is like, this is Marshall Henderson. This is why we love him, and assuming he's not like assuming he's only a menace to himself, I don't mind the guy. When he starts bringing, let's not bring other people into it, Marshall.
Keep it to an audience of one.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this from an article I found. It says, in one instance, an officer stopped Henderson on April 27th for playing loud music and not wearing a seatbelt, and the officer threatened to take him to jail when Henderson turned up his music just as loud as he pulled away after receiving the citations.
I think that sums up Marshall.
That sums it up. He gets pulled over. He's got no seatbelt on. His radio's way too loud, which I didn't know you could really get pulled over for that. But anyway, the officer's like, turn your music down, put your seatbelt on. He's like, sir, yes, sir. And then the officer walks away and he peels out and turns up his music. Throws a middle finger out the window. So good. And now that man is on a college basketball bench. And again, I can't get a single goddamn interview, Tate.
I think Marshall Henderson is what people think Alex Caruso is. You know what I mean? As far as being this cult hero and everything, like Marshall Henderson actually is like Joe Dirt. You know what I mean? Like he is like a phenomenon, like in and of himself. And I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but it is absolutely. It's hard not to watch when it's in front of you. You're kind of like, okay. Oh, we love it. Good to hear.
Number 66. Back to the Pitino world. Let's rip through this one quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we're taking too long as is. Richard Pitino, a year 8 in Minnesota. I think we're just gonna put that at number 66 just because we wanted to get away from Pitino, and then guess what? Got you right back. He's made 2 in-state tournaments. He has a 54% winning percentage. Minnesota, by the way, just shut down their practice. They have COVID outbreak going on up there. They go 15-16 last year, but swept Ohio State, Tate. And I just wanted to this is less about Richard Pitino at Minnesota. He's in year 8. It's kind of nut cutting time for him. Maybe not this year. I'm not putting him on the hot seat. I'm just like, pointing out like now's a good time to start doing some stuff. I would start winning if I was you. And Minnesota's not supposed to be very good this year. But God damn it, Marcus Carr is back. And I just wanted to that to me is the real number 66 is that if your last name is Carr and you play college basketball, it's very important to me that you understand that I hate you.
Get out. Yeah, get out.
Get out. Leave. Go. Be gone.
Don't go to the shot. Don't play well.
No.
Richard Pitino getting fired and Rick Pitino taking his job is the only thing that could make that situation entertaining to me. Richard Pitino is, like you said, 54% winning percentage. He is mediocre. I mean, I think he is just doing the run-of-the-mill situation at Minnesota. I would love, after 8 years, to see a change of direction.
Good if Rick
by
Pitino
bringing in Daddy Pitino. Yeah, they're just like, let's bring in what we want in the first place. That's the only way that's fun there. That's what I'm hoping for.
Good. All right, let's move it along. Who cares? Boring. Number 65. There's this headline from NBC Washington on October 28th. The headline reads this, Tate. Why Patrick Ewing would also pick his Georgetown Hoyas last in the Big East. And then you read the story, and it's about how Georgetown was picked last in the Big East by all the pundits, whatever. And one of Patrick Ewing's quotes was, "It is what it is. I mean, we lost a ton of guys. When you look at the amount of talent that we lost that should have been here, guys going into their junior year, guys going into their sophomore year, I would pick us last," Ewing told reporters. But they have a song. Started from the bottom, now we're here. It's preseason, and we'll see what happens. So he's quoting Drake. That's where we've reached. We've reached the quoting Drake era of Patrick Ewing's run at Georgetown. Oof.
Patrick Ewing is exactly what we were talking about with Chris Collins, where I think he's playing the waiting game, but it's a little bit different in the sense that like he's just waiting for someone to be like, "All right, Patrick, show's over." You know what I mean? He's waiting for someone at Georgetown to just say, "We appreciate this run and nostalgia. It didn't quite work out for us, but we had fun while we tried."
Does John Thompson passing away help or hurt his job status, I guess?
I
think
mean,
it gives you a shot of nostalgia where you're like, you got to keep Patrick around because like we just lost Big John and we need that tie. But at the same time, I feel like while Big John was alive, you had to have a Big John disciple in the chair, and now he's not around to break his heart. Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe, by the way, how did remember in December when we thought Patrick Ewing was going to get fired?
exactly. That's what I mean. He's playing the waiting game for them to finally catch up to speed and say, okay, Patrick, I think it's the time that we finally let you go. I mean, I'm happy that he's a head coach. I think he always wanted to be a head coach. I think he was unfairly unconsidered for a head coach as he sat on the Charlotte Bobcats bench and just looked sad the entire time. So I do think it's great that he got the opportunity. But Georgetown is not the Georgetown of old. And it's kind of like Indiana. They're chasing a ghost of something that might not exist anymore.
At number 64, we have Steve Alford, who is still coaching for his audience of one. Those of you who know that reference. Those who don't might remember when UCLA lost to Belmont a couple years ago. It was a very bad loss. They lose in Poly Pavilion. The Bruins beat the Bruins. Then they turn around and get blown out at Cincinnati. Then a week after that, they lose to Ohio State in the CBS Classic. And Steve Alford is asked about his job status because he was already on thin ice. And then he lost 3 in a row. And there's really no signs of life from UCLA. And he says, there's no issue with that with me. I just do my job as well as I possibly can. And that's what I do every day. I'm a man of God, so I've got an audience of one. And I show up every day, work as hard as I can for my guys. And at the end of the day, if I know that I've prepared and worked hard, then that's what matters to me. And I feel like that is actually like a decent sentiment to have, but that's not something you say out loud after you got your ass handed to you by Ohio State and you're hanging by, like it was the timing. Like I don't think the words themselves are that bad because he's he's basically just saying like I got to do the best I can. As long as I do the best I can, that's all that matters.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But when you say the part where you're like, I only coach for an audience of one, you're the audience of thousands, the millions, we'll pretend that UCLA Nation is a nation of millions of UCLA fans. They're watching this like, huh?
And if you're a Nevada fan, right, you're watching it with even more bewilderment because you know that a wolf pack is in a pack. It's not an audience of one. This is not a hawk. Yeah. This is not something that operates on its in a solo situation. You want someone that can talk to a team. And Steve Alford has never been that guy. We saw him multiple times in the CBS Sports Classic or, when we went to Poly Pavilion where we would just look at each other and we're just like, man, this guy just looks deflated,
Yeah,
and it wasn't
like
he wants to coach. He just looks so out of his bearings. You know what I mean? It just seemed like an Indiana coach is at UCLA and he doesn't understand why these guys don't want to dive on the floor and work harder. He's like, I'm confused. Yeah. What's going on here?
So he has that quote. He's the week later they lose at home to Liberty, and he's fired the very next day. And then UCLA obviously has an interim coach, and they hire Mick Cronin, and the rest is history. Meanwhile, Alford goes to Nevada when Bus goes to Arkansas. So Alford's at Nevada. Last year they go 19-12. They were tied for second in the Mountain West behind San Diego State, who was an absolute wagon.
Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated all season. They are now picked 6th in the Mountain West. And I guess like there's the big picture question with Steve Alford that I have with Chris Collins, that we have with Patrick Ewing, all these guys. Like, what is the long-term play for Steve Alford? Like, what is he? He's never going to get to the mountaintop again. He's never going to get a job like UCLA. Like, that's out of the question. I think if you're Steve Alford, you have to realize you're never winning a national title. So like, what is, as you recalibrate your expectations, what is the long, is he going to be at Nevada the rest of his life? I don't think so. I think the play is you wait for the Ball State job to open up. You go back home and you live in Muncie/Newcastle, Indiana, and you walk around Indiana and you're just like, I am Steve Alford.
I think that's a fair play. Or he goes to, I mean, best case scenario is a Butler type situation or something in Indiana, like you said, that pops up. That's maybe
he's gonna be the Pacers head coach in 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the craziest part about it is that Eric Musselman was able to kind of revive his whole career. So I think that if you're a coach, is sometimes there's like the hope that Steve Alford will be a hot commodity again. I'm sure if you asked Steve Alford and if he were going to be his own audience and you really push came to shove, you said, what do you expect? He would be like, I expect to win at Nevada and then get another opportunity at a big time program. And you and I would probably laugh at him saying that to us. But I think that would be what his outlook is. The thing that I, with Nevada as a program, they kind of had an identity with Musselman, which was like transfer university.
Yeah.
We just get top transfers and we try to make a run, and this is kind of your place to almost figure it out. It's like a JUCO type spot almost to make a D1 run. I don't know what they are with Steve Alford. I don't think they're a fundamental team that's going to come out and, play traditional basketball and really impress people. So I don't know what his identity is as a coach, because that gritty, fundamental Indiana old school way of basketball is not the wave these days with players, it seems like. So I don't know what he pivots to. I don't know what he does to sell himself. But I do think that you're right. Nevada is not the answer for a long-term play. I think it's an answer to hopefully get some wins and then try to move up somewhere he wants to be.
Yeah.
So Steve Alford update. There he is, 64.
He is.
Pretty high, honestly. I mean, above Pat Ewing, that's that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's almost like we didn't put as much thought into this as we probably should have. By the way, we're tracking for a very long show. We gotta
pick it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 63. This is breaking news that we saw yesterday. In fact, this is going on right now. I'm watching this live. Oh, this is hilarious. At 63, we are. I swear, I'm watching it live. I see Andy Katz on my iPad right here. Illinois and Missouri are playing each other. Tate. They call it the Braggin Rights game. They usually play it in St. Louis. Makes sense. It's right on the border of Illinois and Missouri. Right there, and they do a big thing, and it's kind of like the best. I would say it's the best college basketball rivalry that's played on a neutral court every single year, and it's like the largest outdoor cocktail party or whatever. That's the Florida Georgia one, right? I get the same vibes from that as this that I get with this. So they want to keep it going. They want to keep the rivalry going, but obviously playing it on a neutral site doesn't make a lot of sense in the times of coronavirus. So what they've decided is we're going to play it on campus. But on which campus are we going to play, Tate? We are going to find out via a coin flip. They're literally flipping a coin. They're doing it right now. I don't understand. The whole thing started. It's 4:24 right now on LA time. This thing started at
Who
4.
is broadcasting the coin flip? Like who has the rights to this?
I'm on fightingillini.com right now, and I see Andy Katz and Jim Sturk and who else? I don't know. I assume these are the ADs of these other schools. And they're all just talking. And I feel like this is just going to be an hour-long broadcast of them just like, I don't know, talking about their programs. For a coin flip. Andy Katz gets to be the one that flips the coin, though. What a get that is for him.
That's like a brand ambassador. You're the coin flip guy where people bring you in. They're like, all right, we need someone trusted to flip this coin.
Yeah.
So are we waiting on the coin flip before we just talk about these teams, or should we just?
I don't know. Let's just move on, and then we'll break it down when we get the call. But this is not. I was curious to see what it was going to look like, and it's as boring as I thought. It's just guys with bad Zoom camera angles just staring at each other and talking about God knows what. Granted, it is muted. I can't hear what they're saying. I was hoping for a big production for the coin flip. Not really the case. So we'll check back in as we get the update. We'll check back. Does Illinois or Missouri move the needle for you, by the way? Illinois has to, right?
Illinois is the team. I feel like this year we always have a team that we kind of latch on to, or whether it be Virginia in 2019 or 2017, you were all about Gonzaga as I rode my Tar Heels to the top. But like we always have certain teams that we kind of latch on to. I think Illinois this year.
Dayton last year for us.
Dayton last year. Guys, yeah. So there's always a team that is the one. Illinois is probably that pick for us. If we were to do the Titus Tate bandwagon rankings, the power rankings right now, if I had to put, if I put the press on you, do we have a team right now that is number one? Because that's another part of this.
All right, so
we have Illinois.
I got to think about my criteria. Illinois would be on my list too, because I think they're Big Ten, and I feel weird about picking a Big Ten school because I cheer for Big Ten schools, but Illinois, they're not the favorites to win the Big Ten. Like everyone loves Iowa and Wisconsin, but Illinois deserves it with the fan base that they have a great fan base. They've been tortured in a lot of ways. 2005 will haunt them forever. I feel like Illinois, it would be cool to see them have like a fun
moment, especially because we've been joking about Chicago basketball forever.
We'll put Illinois on the list. I don't know if we're going to solve this today, but like we got to throw some candidates out. I think Oklahoma State belongs on there because Cade Cunningham is going to win me over. He's going to be awesome, and the fact that they are banned from the NCAA tournament for bullshit reasons, I'm going to cheer for them, and I want them in the tournament. And I want to use whatever influence we have to get them into the tournament. So I want to put them as a candidate, maybe. The other two that came to mind, Creighton, who is fun. They're going to be a fun team. Zagorowski is All-American good. They're going to play great offense. I don't know how well they're going to play defense. They are also tortured. Like they made a Sweet 16 in like my lifetime. I don't even know if that's true. So that would be cool to see Creighton have some success. And then I'm staying on the Dayton bandwagon as well. I would like to throw them out there as a candidate. The Dayton's going to be very good still this year, even though they lost Obi. Crutcher's back. Ibby Watson, Rodney Chapman, other guys. They have guys coming back.
They have the guys. Dayton's on the list. My last one that I have to throw out, and it's because of one man. It's Tennessee. And I know a lot of people, we joked about forgetting Tennessee a couple years back on our preview, but it's the year of John Fulkerson. And I want you to hear that name and say it loud, say it proud. John Fulkerson. His friends call him Folky. And Folky was the best freshman on a Tennessee team at the Maui Invitational in 2016, a team that played the future national champions, the North Carolina Tar Heels. And John Fulkerson showed up against Kennedy Meeks, against Isaiah Hicks. And I looked at two guys in the paint for Tennessee, and the other guy next to him was Grant Williams. He's in the NBA right now. And Grant Williams did not look as good as John Fulkerson. John Fulkerson looked like he was ready to play. He looked like Josh McRoberts out there, 6'9", got a lot of potential, had a lot of injuries that hindered him. And this is the year where we're going to get folked up. We're going to be all over.
We're getting folked up. We're
getting folked up.
Hold on. Andy Katz is about to do it. He's showing the coin. Sorry, I know we break out. We're going to talk about getting folked up here in a second. But Andy Katz has the coin. One side has the Missouri logo. One side has the. He's explaining how he's going to do it. He's going to flip it, catch it in his hand, and then flip it up over, and then flip it, which is like a double flip.
To me, that's a double flip.
That's
a double
flip. That doesn't count.
Not count.
But he's explained the rules. So he's going to catch it in his right hand and then flip it onto his left.
I demand a reflip.
Here it comes live on the air. Flip the coin, Andy. He's nervous. You can tell he's nervous.
He's sweating.
Flip the guy. I can't hear what he's saying, by the way. So it's like extra frustrating to see him like locked in, like he's about to flip it. Then he pulls it off and he talks some more. Takes a deep breath. Andy Katz wearing a Carolina blue and white plaid shirt. With a navy blue sport coat over top. Flips it up in the air, catches it, puts it on his hand, and it is Illinois. Missouri.
Oh my God! It was Illinois, and then he flipped it again.
Yep, the game will be played in Columbia. Wait, Josh Whitman is the Illinois representative. He's demanding a recount. He says, "Stop the count."
Reflip.
He says, "Reflip it." There's now.
I agree. I think that's a double flip.
There's now a faction outside of Andy Katz's apartment banging on the door, saying, "Reflip." This is going to get dicey. They're playing it in Missouri, I guess. But that's on our list. Number 63, a coin flip, Tate, to decide where they're playing a game. These are the times we live in. That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome. And Missouri wins. It's big for the Tigers. I feel like Missouri got a lot of coverage from Titus Tate, One Shining Podcast. When they had the Michael Porter Jr. mystery, they had Jonte Porter. They had a lot of storylines. And then we haven't caught up with Missouri in a while. So this was nice. This was nice to get in with Missouri.
Our producer, Louise, just dropped a note and said she was listening to Andy Katz's audio as he's explained it. Apparently, one of the lines he said is that as he was practicing the coin flip today, it was about 50-50 on which team won.
No way.
So that is a Ken Palm algorithm right there.
That is literally sports television today, where people just point out things that are so obvious. You're like, thanks, John.
Back to you guys. Oh man, so we're done with the bandwagon, right? We can't.
Yeah, we're done with the bandwagon, but we also just want to point out we're going to talk about those teams later on. It's not like we're done with Illinois. Yeah. It's not like we're done with Oklahoma State.
But I think we should. So we should determine maybe like a time, maybe by like Christmas, we have to figure out who our bandwagon team is. And those are the candidates right now. We've got Illinois, Oklahoma State,
Tennessee.
And then I threw out Creighton and Dayton.
Yeah. Creighton, Dayton. I think that's a good top 5.
Yeah, one of those 5 will be.
As a Carolina person, I cannot support Creighton after what.
Oh, that's true. All right, well, we'll eliminate Creighton. Creighton's off. It's Dayton, Oklahoma State.
Sorry to the Blue Jays.
I want us both to be equally excited about the team. We have to come together as a show. I want all the friends of the program to rally behind.
Illinois is number 1 right now, I would say. Yeah, because like I have the guilt of 2005.
But that could change, man. Like we gotta watch the games because like if they come out and they're just laying stinker after stinker, I'm not getting. I'm
exactly.
Get them out of here.
Yeah,
it might be Dayton again, honestly.
Yeah, it always could. It's how you play. It's how you play.
You gotta win us over. We're not just handing out. But I would love to get folked up too. That seems right about. Number 62, Andy Infield's bags are plentiful. They remain deep. He is welcoming Evan Mobley to USC this year. if that last name sounds familiar, it's because Evan Mobley's a 5-star. He's the number 2 player in the class, I guess, or he's the number 1, depending on what.
Yeah, depending on what site you go to or what region you live in the country, he is the number 1 player. So Evan Mobley's number 1.
Cade Cunningham's 1. Jalen Green's going pro. He doesn't count.
Yeah, Josh Christopher also number 1.
Yeah, also, whatever.
Jalen Suggs also number 1.
Evan Mobley is a 5-star. We know that much. His brother is a year older than him. Was a freshman last year on USC. His name is Isaiah. He was also a 5-star. And their father, Eric, is an assistant coach at USC who just so happened to get hired right as his sons were coming out of high school. And then his sons chose to play for their father. It's all, what a coincidence. The Lord works in mysterious ways. And I just want to say, for the Mobleys to have all of these things just come together, it's fantastic. Kudos to them. But Andy Enfield has another 5-star. This is his 4th 5-star in the last 3 years, Tate.
Yeah.
Along with Okongwu and Kevin Porter. Those are the other 2.
Yeah. Andy Enfield, a few years back, 4 years or so, he wanted the Mobleys to be the Bagleys. And there was a lot of rumors around the world that Tony Bland had the Bagleys locked up, that Marvin Bagley was going to go to USC. He was going to stay on the West Coast. And then Duke came in and all things changed. But they made up for it with the Mobleys. Andy Enfield has somehow created some sort of invincibility, it feels like, as far as like the coaching circles. He never comes up as someone that is in trouble or on the hot seat. It just more comes up that like, oh yeah, USC, they're doing better than we thought they would be doing. And also they've had 3 guys picking the NBA draft in the past 2 years, or whatever little stat they may pull up.
At number 61, we are talking about the Atlantic Coast Conference and how the coaches have voted. This is something to keep an eye on, folks. The coaches have voted to not wear suits this year. They're all wearing polos. They all came together and decided, I don't know, like it helps with coronavirus prevention. Is that the excuse we're using? For safety? They just say for the health and safety of our players. Decided to not wear ties. Yes. Like I don't really know why, other than just like during the pandemic, we've all decided we're not wearing normal clothes anymore, and we're just going to wear sweats. And I guess ACC basketball coaches were like, yeah, we are too. And the reason I put this on the list is because I genuinely do believe that this is the start of a permanent thing. I think the suits are slowly going to get phased out of college basketball.
Just like football. Yeah, it's going to be just like coaching in football. Yep. Yeah, it'll be gone very soon. I think if you had to explain how this happened in the ACC, you have to look at one man, and his hair has tar in it, and you have to think about him saying athleisure. Because that's what he wants. He wants athleisure. He wants to be comfortable on the sidelines. Coach K's been wearing a suit for too damn long. He's been showed up by Roy Williams every time because Roy Williams has Alexander Julian making all these fresh suits. And so now he's done with it. And he's like, I'm going to wear Nike gear, dry fit gear on the sideline. He's jealous of Huggy Bear. He's been seeing him doing it for a long time. And he's also jealous of Mike Bray, who has never kissed the ring. Mike Bray's always done it his own way. Yeah, and Mike Bray has always had fun with it. And Coach K is like now trying to be the fun, cool guy. He's trying to take one out of the Mike Bray book. But Mike Bray's a different breed. He doesn't care. He's going to still stand out, even though everyone's dressing the same as him now. I'm not worried about that, but I do think this is all Coach K.
Roy should just continue to wear suits.
He will. He will.
To hell with all of you. Like,
he will.
This is stupid. I'm going to wear a suit.
I would write that down right now, that I think that Frank Martin and Roy Williams would be like the last 2 guys to wear suits.
Yeah. I really, really feel like this is going to be the start, because you're already seeing it in college, like all the early season tournaments, like Maui, obviously, and others. Coaches will ditch the suits, and then they started sprinkling in more events. Like there's always the week or whatever it is where they wear the shoes for cancer. I think it's for cancer, right?
Coaches versus cancer.
Coaches versus cancer week, and they start wearing sneakers on the sideline. Like the coaches are always eager to get rid of the suits. And guys are just getting a little looser. Like Calipari, if you've been tracking his,
look at my Air Forces.
Yeah,
that's Coach K.
Cal's been taking the tie off a little more lately, and I don't know. I just feel like
suits are dead.
I feel like suits are dead, and this is going to be the first major step towards that. Is the ACC coaches. So keep an eye on that.
It used to be like you walk in the room and you have a Versace suit on, and it was kind of a statement, like the throwback Pat Riley days of just like, this is what it is to be chic and cool and be the head coach. But now nobody cares. They just want you to be like a good person and have potentially a bag.
The recruits have their head down when you
they're on Instagram.
They're looking at their phones and looking at the bag. And
you know what they're looking at? No, let's be honest. They're looking at Check DM.
Check DM. They're looking at their phone trying to figure out how they got hacked. Like, they don't understand. They're like,
what's going on with the shoe company?
Yeah, I think that's the most heartbreaking part about getting hacked is that I really, really wanted to check out the shoe company, and the shoe company just doesn't exist, and that's a bummer. Number 60 on our list, the Holy Cross Seawards and the Boston University Terriers are playing each other 6 times this year. This was brought to my attention by @Reddit CFB, the college football. I don't know why they're the ones that tweeted this, but if you look at the Holy Cross schedule or the Boston University schedule, they have each other on their schedule 6 times this year. And I just wanted to point that out and bring that to people's attention because that's something to keep an eye on. Not just this, but like this is going to happen between these 2 schools, but also a lot of other schools are going to be doing this where you're just like games are getting canceled left and right. And it's like, well, I guess we got to play the team down the road for the 8th time because they're available. We're available. We got to get games in. We can't just sit on our hands for a month. But they have it on the schedule 6 times. They're playing 3 at Holy Cross, 3 at BU. Why it's not a game 7? I guess you could. They're both in the Patriot League. Maybe they meet in the Patriot League tournament and they get the game 7 if it's a tied series. But that is certainly unusual, Tate. I don't remember ever seeing this in college basketball history.
It is pretty epic because I mean you think about Bob Cousy and you think about Bill Simmons and you think about Holy Cross basketball, and it's very funny because Holy Cross we joked about them being a sleeping giant at one point in time. But they are an NBA fan base, right? Based on those people I just listed. And a 7-game series makes the most sense. Just add one more game, make it a 7-game series, make the statement, and then you put the pressure on the number 1 rivalry in college basketball. Of course, I'm talking about Louisville, Kentucky. Maybe they play each other 7 times in one season and set the tone that they can also take this to the next level. I think this is the most ridiculous thing. I didn't even think it was real when I saw it. And I still don't feel like it's real, but I can't wait to
I have an idea. I have an idea. This is groundbreaking. This is galaxy brain shit right here. A rivalry where you only play once every 4 years. So like everyone that goes through the program, they only get one shot at their rival. It's only once every 4 years. But the 1 year you do play a 7-game series. You play 7 times in that series. But it's every 4 years.
Yeah.
That's next level shit. That's amazing.
Sign me up.
You play 7 times in 1 year, and then you take 3 years off, and then you play 7 times again, and you just keep doing that over and over. Holy Cross in Boston. You brought up Bill Simmons, our former boss. Boston. If memory serves, the most famous Boston alum that comes to mind is Howard Stern. Should we get Howard Stern and Bill Simmons on this program?
Call 6 games.
Yeah. Should we get them on the show? Should we have them as guests and just do a pod with those? Like, just call them up.
Easy. Yeah, that's easy.
That'd be fun.
6 times. What a nightmare. I mean, that's going to be so bad by the 4th time.
Also, in just weird, unprecedented times news, I saw this story yesterday, so we're going to throw this at number 59. According to Jeff Goodman, the Big South has created an algorithm to determine its champion, and my brain hurt trying to make sense of this. Because their algorithm is this: it's not win percentage. The most in a normal year, you take the winning percentage. Whoever won the most games, congratulations, you're the champion. Well, some games are probably going to get canceled. We're not really sure what it's going to look like. So the Big South came up with this algorithm, Tate, which is 75% of your ultimate score, I guess we'll say, your standing is derived from your winning percentage. The other 25% is from the number of games you play. So my understanding, I tried to flesh out, I guess like it's the percentage of games you play that are on the schedule and however many, because the formula I came up with is, so you would take 0.75, then you multiply it by the fraction of games won over games played, because that's your winning percentage. And then you add the coefficient of 0.25 games played over games scheduled. And then you spit out a number, and whoever has the highest number wins. So anyway, what I'm saying is the algorithms have taken over college basketball. So have fun. Congratulations to Ken Pom.
Yeah. The worst part about it is that I think it was Norlander brought it up on Twitter talking about this whole thing, this whole plan for the Big South to do this. And Ken Pom chimed in and said this is a bad idea, and then gave his own.
So Ken Pom doesn't like it.
Ken Pom says nay. He says no, he's not a fan of this. He does not like it.
Is it because this is competition? This is
I think it's because if you were 10-0 if you were 15-4, but one team is 10-0, the team that's 15-4 is ranked above the team that's 10-0. You know what I mean? It's like he was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but
also,
none of it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. None of it.
But
makes
also, if
sense.
you're like 4-0 and another team's like 19-4, like you shouldn't be first place because you're 4-0 and
I don't
cancel
know
this because you know how many teams are just gonna like pretend like they have COVID and just they're gonna be like,
let's
oh my
call
God,
Graham Couch and see what wins count.
Dude,
like
Minnesota,
in COVID times.
Minnesota's gonna win their first 5 Big Ten games and then just be like, another COVID outbreak. We can't play the rest of the Big Ten season. Sorry guys, but we'll take the championship trophy. Thank you.
Yeah, the Florida State. Yeah,
yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Ken Palm doesn't like it. That's amazing. So
yeah.
maybe we don't have to worry about
it's kind of one of those things where you assume that most numbers guys and analytics guys and science guys and math guys, they all get along, but then you realize you can't generalize people. You know, everyone's different, everyone varies, and we're all different variables. You know what I mean? To put it in math terms,
this should just be the Ken Palm year. Like we should just make the tiebreaker for everything Ken Palm.
What do you mean? That's every year. That's
year.
Every single year I get in the tournament. I'm like, who's gonna win this game? It's like Ken Palm says Alabama. Let's go with that.
Number 58 on our list is a story we will be tracking all season. We were tracking it a little bit at the end of last season, but this is very much on our radar. It is the Kobe King mystery. Kobe King, for those who might not know, was at one time Wisconsin's best player.
Yeah, December of
he was the leading scorer in Big Ten play. All the way up until January 29th when he announces that he's leaving Wisconsin. He started every single game for Wisconsin. He was, as I said, the leading scorer in conference play. Wisconsin was 13-9, not having a great season, but not horrible. But yeah, not good by Wisconsin standards. Whatever. He was getting all the opportunities you would assume that a guy would want. He was, yeah. You know, what's not to be happy about other than maybe the losing. So he decides January 29th, Tate, very, very late in the season. This is not midseason. This is not a semester situation. This is like, just play it out for another couple months, buddy, and then transfer. He decides he's going to leave Wisconsin, gets a lot of flack for it. A lot of people calling him quitter and you know, abandoning his team, all that kind of stuff. Gets absolutely killed for it. You're throwing your team under the bus. All these guys that you've worked so hard for to get to this point. What are they going to do without you now? And the answer is they're going to go 9-1 without him. And Wisconsin gets absolutely red hot, ends up winning a share of the Big Ten without Kobe King. So fast forward to about a month after he decides he's transferring, Kobe King announces that he's going to go to Nebraska. He's transferring in conference from Wisconsin to Nebraska. Then fast forward to this June, the Nebraska basketball players report to campus, and Kobe King decides, you know what? I don't think I'm going to report to camp. I don't want to go to Nebraska either. And leaves Nebraska and says, I'm quitting basketball for the time being for personal reasons. So the mystery is this, Tate. Where the hell is Kobe King? Is he coming back? Are we ever going to see him again? What happened? Where do we stand with all this?
Yeah, this is literally Billy Preston level of where is this man going to go play basketball? I'm not sure. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's also interesting. Like you said, Hoiberg over the summer, I mean, he literally got asked about it and he's made a simple comment. He just said he's not enrolling at Nebraska. And I found that so strange. You know, it wasn't like an explanation. It was just as simple as that. It's a very no-gel Eastern type story where you get put in limbo. Maybe you flew too close to the sun. That's our favorite saying here on the show. Kobe King definitely flew too close to the sun at Wisconsin. He left. He also created a new theory, which is the Kobe King theory, which is you can be the quote unquote best player on your team and then leave and then your team gets better. It's similar to
like that theory.
Yeah.
I like that theory. Did you come up with that?
Yeah. That's the Kobe King theory. And that's something we can lean on. I feel like that's his lasting mark as far as college basketball. I don't think we see him.
I don't think we see him again
in college basketball. I think he's going to try to go play overseas somewhere.
I hate that. I want to see him again. I want him to be like, I want him to just kind of exist in the periphery as a guy that's like a threat to transfer or something. Like he's just going to wait it out, see what happens the first start of the season, find the team that's pretty good, and then go ring chasing and just be like, I'm going to Baylor.
I was going to say Texas Tech is the team. Like if I am him, I'm trying to make phone calls down there, but they may not want him. They have enough transfers that they have that are top flight that are coming in.
Man, Kobe King mystery. We'll keep an eye on it. Number 57. I'll let you take this one. You love this kid.
This kid is a kid that we saw, not a couple years back, and we saw him in person. We did not even know who he was at the time, but we left and we said, "Oh, that guy seemed like a pretty solid player for Pepperdine." And now he is getting all the hype. And at number 57, Matt Norlander put him on his list as a player to watch. He quote tweeted that tweet and basically said, "I'll see it. See me at the end of the season. I'll have my thoughts on this." So we decided to also put Colby Ross from Pepperdine, the point guard, at number 57. Famously, during March of last year, he tweeted, "League me." And then Pepperdine responded, "Not yet." And Colby Ross is projected to be an NBA caliber guy. That will be, it's a senior year this year. So next year he'll be in the draft. But number 57 on our list, number 57 on Northern's list. He plans to show us up and show out, apparently. So there we have it.
He has a message for the haters, and his message is what do you say? Check in with you guys at the end of the year, I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Northern. I think it was. I think I told you it was Northern. I think it was all of CBS. So
it was like it was the full. It was the full.
It was
CBS.
The full team. Okay. Yeah, I don't want Norlander to catch straight bullets for that one, but yeah, Colby Ross is put at number 57. He is of all the returning players in college basketball, he has the most career assists. He scored 38 points at USC last year. He is All-American talent. He is good enough to. If Colby Ross is a first or second team All-American this year, you will not be surprised. I certainly won't be surprised.
I will not be surprised. No.
Yeah, but he was put at 57 on CBS list. He's not happy about it. So keep an eye on that. Colby Ross, message for the haters.
Yeah, we plan to go to a Pepperdine game, or at least attempt to go to a Pepperdine game if we can. When we do, we will give a Colby Ross update, and we'll check it on. I mean, it's the whole situation there. It's been great at Pepperdine.
I got to get one of those hot dogs.
Yeah.
I got to get a hot dog when we go this time. Number 56, another guy who we talked about, Andy Enfield, just making some moves on the recruiting trail and landing all the 5 stars. We have to talk about Nate Oates at Alabama. Because you were so excited. You were just fully torqued when you saw this headline about a month ago that said Alabama trying to snag half of Duke basketball's remaining 2021 targets. Yes. Alabama, Tate, and basketball.
Yes, exactly. That's where we are. Nate Oates goes down to Alabama. He says, "Thank you, Avery Johnson, for setting, some sort of template here. But I'm going to turn it up. We're going to be the fastest team, like we joked about."
Penny. Every coach
he said, "We're going to be the fastest team in basketball." Turns out that they score a lot of points. I think they were 3rd in the country last year in points per game, 82 points per game. They shoot a lot of threes. They're a fun team to watch if you watch Alabama play. But the new trick that Nate Oates has going, the 2020 recruiting class, they have Canada's number 1 and number 3 ranked players, as well as the top JUCO prospect in the nation, number 9 class in the country overall in 2020. Nate Oates is making some noise. Alabama is going to be a fun team to watch. And I just wanted to point out that is happening. You know what I mean? I do think it's going to surprise some people when they watch this team. I mean, Kira Lewis is going to be in the draft this year. People will, throw up highlights from last year and say, "Wow, I mean, Alabama's
he's an Avery Johnson recruit, though, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
but
Nate Oates came recruit.
The brand, Alabama brand is
it's going well. Sexton's in the league. That was still Avery Johnson, obviously. But I'm just saying, Nate Oates, if you thought it was going to be a drop off from Avery Johnson, you're incorrect. It's actually it's boosting up. It's turning in the right direction. Nate Oates famously beat DeAndre Ayton and Sean Miller.
Remember when we thought that was Buffalo. Like the final nail in Sean Miller's coffin? How funny is that looking back? Like how many final nails in Sean Miller's coffin have we've seen?
If you took a picture from the outside, it's just nails. Just like just literally into the wood. It's just covered in nails. Yeah. And then he just opens it up and is untouched. It's like a vampire. You're like, oh my God, there he is.
Oh man. So you said Nate Oates is the number 1 guy in Canada, huh? Because you gotta package that as number 1 in the country.
Yeah, the number 1 recruiter in Canada, Nate Oates. Yeah. Number 1 recruiter in Canada.
Don't specify what country. Just say he's got the number 1 recruit in the country.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's easy. And number 3. So there you go.
Number 3 in the country, and then just on
Alabama.
I saw that they were in the running for Caleb Houston, I think is the kid's name, that ended up signing with Michigan. So he did lose out on that one, but that was hope for 2021 that he was going to get that 5-star. But he already got like a 5-star point guard. He's in the running for 5-star big man. I don't know. I'm
just telling you, watch out for Alabama basketball and Nate Oates. Nate Oates is a great coach.
Yeah. Number 55. I don't know. what is this? A mea culpa to Marquette fans? Is that
I don't even know what we're trying to do here. We're basically just saying to the Marquette world, we know that last year you had Marcus Howard. We know that Marcus Howard was, your prized possession over the past 3 years, whatever you want to say. And all we want to say is the reason that you didn't get the love that you thought you deserved from us is because we thought and wanted more. We wanted Marcus Howard to look up and say, hey, Sam Hauser's open. Why don't I just pass him the ball this one time? Well, and we never got that clarity. So that's why we were upset.
Not last year.
Certainly not last year. No, I'm talking about 2 years ago. Yeah. And then last year, obviously, they weren't on the team. But Marcus Howard, we enjoyed Marcus Howard, but we didn't give him his due according to the Marquette fans. We are always watching Marquette. We know about the Tommy Boy ties. We know about the long-standing Marquette tradition. Okay, we get it. We get Marquette. We get that it's a great school. We understand that there's going to be great moments that come. We are watching. We know Wojo's there. He is obviously in the Coach K power rankings always. He's always a discussion point for us. So that's more what it is.
Shout out to our fellow Grantland alum Charlie Pierce, who is a big Marquette guy, and I was at the Big 12 basketball tournament with him, been sitting next to him for 3 straight days, and he was just like talking to me about Doc Rivers at Marquette in '77, and they're
amazing. Yeah. I mean,
just stuffing my brain full of Marquette stuff that a lot of it I've forgotten since then. But yeah, Marquette. So it's been a while.
We just want to say that give us another chance, Marquette.
We're ready for a blank slate because a few years ago, I think I got I'll never forget getting on the ESPN BPI, the preseason ESPN BPI, and they said Marquette was going to be the number 4 team in the country, and I about shit my pants laughing so hard because I was like, that Marquette won't even be the number 4 team in Wisconsin, but okay, number 4 in the country if you say so. And then was that the same year or was it?
I think 2018. That was
that was the same year that then because they were supposed to bring the Hausers back with Marcus Howard. Whether it was the same year or not, because then they were supposed to, like, Marquette was supposed to be very good, and then Marcus Howard announces he's coming back. He's not going to go to the NBA, and then like 2 days later, the Hausers were like, "Well, in that case, we're gone."
Yeah,
and I thought that was hilarious as well. And then I just kind of got carried away, and then it became a Marcus Howard versus Miles Powell debate last year, and Miles Powell is just so much cooler than Marcus Howard. Like, I don't even know who the better player is, honestly. Marcus Howard's probably better if I really thought about it that much, but Miles Powell is just so much cooler. I just liked him more. So and anyway, we got a little carried away. And now that Marcus Howard's gone, I would just like to say,
we're the Hausers. Now that Marcus Howard is out of the way, we are fully in to play hard.
We got lost in the bit, but the DJ Carton is there.
Yeah.
Ohio State transfer. I liked him, even though like the way he left Ohio State was a little
very
weird,
strange,
like, strange, but like whatever, he said he was having mental health problems. Who am I to say he wasn't? So, if going to Marquette would help him out, then good on you, DJ.
Good news. Yeah.
Also, Theo John is still at Marquette, and I just want to point out he is by far number 1 on the power rankings of guys most likely to be NFL tight ends in 5 years. By far, not even close. I don't even think there's a second on my list. So that's cool. Keep an eye on that. But Marquette's schedule is this date: Wisconsin, December 4th. Wisconsin's gonna have a good team. At UCLA, December 11th. We're gonna try to be at that game at Pauley Pavilion. Creighton on December 14th. To open Big East play. And then they got Villanova 2 days before Christmas. That's what the schedule looks like right now. So what I'm saying is by Christmas, we'll have a pretty good idea if Marquette can play basketball, how good they are. Because there's a lot of question marks right now, but we'll have a better idea by Christmas because they have a little bit of a gauntlet in December.
We're not on the bandwagon, but we just wanted to say we're not anti. We never want to come out as anti Marquette because we understand. We get it. We see it. We remember Tom Crean. We remember the good days. Number 54 on the list. We're gonna keep this. We're almost there, Titus. We're
almost doing it. Are we what is it, like an hour and a half in?
The people that heard us at the top of this podcast are like, wow, they've done it again.
Not listening. The people that heard us at the top of the podcast.
Yeah, they're done. But they're going to be upset that they missed
bailed right around the Billy Gillispie talk. They're like, oh my god,
oh god,
throwing it on and on.
Speaking of teams that Billy Gillispie should have coached, number 54, NC State, and the real title of this segment is the Pack Pride update. Pack Pride, as we know, one of the greatest and most upsetting rumor message boards, whatever you want to call it, on the internet. They have a great time. They believe in the Pac-9, the Pac-5, whatever pack they're supporting. They're all in on always. The headline that stuck out to me, Mark Titus, as I go on Pack Pride, I said it to you. It's simple as this. NC State men's basketball picked 8th in the ACC preseason poll. And that's all it takes.
The funny part about Pack Pride is you don't even have to read any of the comments. You don't have to read. Yeah, you just literally read the headline that just says picked 8th. And then your imagination could just run wild about what you're going to find when you click on it. And it's almost better than like actually clicking on it.
Absolutely. So I clicked on it, and it honestly, it was even better than I predicted. The people talking about the idiots that make these picks, talking about how good they're going to be. And I will agree. I think the NC State is going to be better than the 8th team in the ACC. There were comments such as, remember last season we were undefeated at the ACC tournament. Like things like that are just like, that's a little tongue in cheek, which I like. The veracity that used to be there, or like the anger that used to kind of just, seep through the entire site, seems to be subsiding a little bit, Titus. I will report from that standpoint. The people are calling for Kevin Keats, though. They want to see. They want to see the answers, and there's a
like
pack,
in a good way or a bad, like
in a bad way. There's like in a state way, where there's like the people that are now bringing up Sidney Lowe and saying that if this were Sidney Lowe, we'd already be calling for his job. And the Gottfried stuff, talking about when he should have been called for. It's just the revisionist history. Poor Herb Sendek was winning games there, but just because he didn't beat North Carolina and Duke, they wanted him gone. Kevin Keats has been great. Kevin Keats is building a program. Kevin Keats has a chance
Kevin Keats
this
year.
Is
a winner.
He's a winner, folks. You know that.
We
know that. Braxton Beverly is there. I think they have depth for the first time. I really do. And I think NC State's going to be a good team. But Pack Pride, they are upset about being 8th in the preseason poll, and they expect more. And I also expect more. So that's the Pack Pride update.
Braxton Beverly and DJ Funderburg, both at NC State. They are the last remnants of Thad Matta in college basketball. Oh, Micah Potter, he's still at Wisconsin. So those are the 3. I think those 3 guys are like the last Thad recruits, or just whatever you want to call it.
So Thad Matta to NC State. That's what people are saying.
Makes you think. Rick Pitino to NC State makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God, that would actually be the thing about Roy Williams, Coach K, and Rick Pitino in the triangle. That would be absolutely ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people listening think I'm joking.
No, I mean,
nothing
NC State would hire
Rick
Pitino tomorrow.
Absolutely. And Rick Pitino's taking that job. He is running out the door. He is dropping the phone and running out the door on his way to Raleigh.
And literally telling Kevin Keats that he can be on his staff. He's like, you can be my assistant again.
Yes.
And the head coach is here. I'm taking over.
Yeah, absolutely. God, that would be so
Pack Pride update, Rick Pitino.
I'm telling you, I don't think people are prepared for the Rick Pitino sweepstakes. That man is
coming back.
He's coming.
yeah. We should make a promo video. Pitino is coming back.
Oh man. All right. At number 53, we have we're just gonna get the Ohio State talk out of the way. I feel like we got to talk about the Buckeyes a little bit, and I don't feel like we're worthy of top 50 talk. Which is really just I'm playing into the example that the head coach of Ohio State always creates every year, which is that
y'all suck.
You got to downplay it. You got to downplay it and say we suck. So I guess our number 53 is Chris Holtman was once again being coy about how good Ohio State may or may not be. I will say there is some truth to like he's downplaying it a little bit, but it's not as bad. But there's some truth because Ohio State does have a lot of injuries. Seth Towns transferred from Harvard. He's not played in like 2 years. He has knee problems. He's still not 100%.
He's from Columbus. We talked.
They don't
about
know
if
well he made news this summer. He was like he was very active in the Black Lives Matter protests and all that, and actually got arrested, I think, or detained. But anyway, he is not 100%. He's still a ways away from being healthy. Musa Jallo has an ankle problem all last year. He's still not all the way back. Abel Porter transferred from Utah State. He just found out his career is basically over. Well, not basically, it is over because he's got the heart condition that'll. One of the Penn State running backs just had the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like Miro Card. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So there is a little validity to like the idea of like there's some question marks around Ohio State, but I still think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be pretty good.
I wrote this down about Coach Holtman. You got to play coy to be coy, and that means capital coy, Coach of the Year. And I think he plays coy on purpose. He wants people to think that they are like you just gave the rundown of why Ohio State's going to suck.
You know what's funny?
That's what he does. That's what
I was on the phone with him this week, and I was talking to him about this very thing because I haven't talked to him in a while, and I was just like, "Hey, give me the scoop. Like, are we gonna be good? Like, shoot me straight." I was like, "I don't want the you tell the media where we're not going to be good or anything. Like, I really need to know if we're going to be good." He starts laughing. He's like, "No." He's like, he goes, "Honestly, I haven't really done that this year. I haven't done the media thing. I haven't downplayed it. I don't think I've really been that." He's like, "I used to do that Butler all the time. I don't really think I'm doing it that bad this year. I kind of do like our team. We're going to be he says like 10 seconds of we're going to be okay. We're going to, but I got to say, Mark, like we do have a lot of injuries, and he just goes into it.
and he's back.
And then like the next 10 minutes of talking was just like, I just did, I like Justice Ewing a lot. Great player.
And Musa, if he could be healthy, I
look at Justice and I just don't know, the jump from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. Is he going to be able to play Big Ten basketball? And like some of the guys we have back are good. I don't know. I'm like, all right. How are we going to replace the West? All that kind of stuff. So anyway, moving on. That's enough Ohio State talk.
Yeah, I think the answer is simple. Coach Holtman will never tell us what we're going to see. Yeah. Ohio State beat North Carolina by 25 last year. You were at that game. I was at that game. Yeah, people forget. And this year's revenge. So I hope that they are horrible, and I hope North Carolina beats them by 40 points. That's what it is. Coach, keep telling me they're horrible.
No,
live up to the hype.
If we're losing, I'm gonna try to go to the game. It's in Cleveland, and if we're losing, I'm gonna go into the locker room and just start coughing and try to get them to play the COVID card and be like, we're not gonna come out for the second half.
I literally, if Roy Williams takes out the starters and they're up 20 points, I'm literally gonna go crazy. Like I'm gonna run it up. Coach Holman's like looking at me. He's like, "What? No sportsmanship tonight." We remember. The North remembers. That's it. We're winning by 30 this year. I don't care if it's in Cleveland. I hope it's in Cleveland. We're running it up.
That's so good. Oh my God, we got two more. We're almost done.
Right.
Number 52, you take it.
I was gonna say number 52 is one that's close to the heart. Whew. He's also the son of Duke's athletic director, famously Kevin White, and also the guy that's always on your TV now when we get to March Madness. But his name's Mike White, and he is the head coach of Florida, the men's basketball program. He has also had a lot of highs while at Florida. It feels like he's had a lot of moments where people have been like, this is going to be the next guy. He's even got to the point where you and I have talked about Mike White being in the Duke sweepstakes, which got us to the point where we asked a simple question, which is one of our traditional quintessential questions of the program. Good guy or bad guy? And I turn to you, Mark Titus. Mike White, good guy, bad guy. What do we think?
Where does he fall? He's given off some good guy vibes. I'll say that much.
Yes.
I was at the game last year. They played at Butler Hinkle Fieldhouse, and there were more Florida fans there than I thought there would be. It was like a random game in Hinkle Field. I don't know. It was just like surprising to see as many Florida fans there. And boy, they were not silent about how frustrated they were with Mike White. Butler handed it to him. And Florida, if you remember last year, preseason number 6 in the country, Kerry Blackshear transferred there. He was like the hot transfer that everyone was. He was last year's Olivier Sarr. We'll put it that way. No
best way to put it.
Yeah. And a lot of expectations to the point that Mike White got a contract extension right before the season started in September because like the Florida basketball was humming. They were like, man, we're going to be so good this year. We got to lock him up we got to extend him. And then they just dropped like an absolute rock. They get smoked by Florida State. I don't think the margin was that big, but I remember watching that game and like Florida State just kicked their ass.
It was like a statement that Florida State was definitely way better than Florida.
I think it was in Gainesville too. Then they lose to UConn, who UConn is not very good, and they lost UConn, and then they lose to Butler, and suddenly the wheels are kind of falling off for Florida. They were not great last year. I mean, they weren't. It wasn't like a complete embarrassment, but they were not very good. So Mike White, going into this year, he is now saying, get this, Tate, he wants to play faster. They say that Kerry Blackshear, Nembhard transferred to Gonzaga, so Andrew Nembhard's out, Kerry Blackshear's out. Those two guys, they were slow. They were a little too slow, and we want to play fast. So that's actually addition by subtraction. We're going to get going a little bit. But he has some 5 stars on the roster. Trey Mann, Scotty Lewis. So that tells me he's a bad guy because he's got 5 stars, but then he's kind of got good guy vibes because like once the 5 stars get there, are we sure? I don't know.
Are we sure? Are we sure?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
that's what we're keeping an eye on. That's why he's number 52. Is like Mike White. What is his identity as a coach? Is it good guy? Is it bad guy? All right, finally wrapping it up. Number 51 for us. Tom Izzo has contracted the coronavirus, and as a man who is a Tom Izzo whisperer, Tate, I have through the years been able to, in a way that no one else has, I have been able to read between the lines with what Tom Izzo has going on. I'm on to him. We'll put it that way. That this is a man who's a next level motivator. He always is thinking about how to motivate his team and how to have manufactured adversity. And I guess this one is stumping me because he's contracted coronavirus, and I don't understand what the adversity play is here. I don't get why he would do that.
What you're saying and what I'm saying is that I think this is the perfect adversity play because, like you said, it's a global pandemic. We're getting it out of the way early. One thing we do know about Tom Izzo adversity, it's always timely. And if they get a little too hot early, like last year in Maui, they lost to Virginia Tech. Wabisa Beatty and Landers Nolly knock them off. He basically says no swimming, no pool time, no water time. This is how we handle this. You guys, you want adversity? I'll give it to you. And I think that's how he does things. I think this is adversity at its finest. I think, if anything, I want to see the test results just to make sure that it is. Release the results, prove it, and then from there, I think he goes on to have a big season. This is Mr. March. This is not Mr. November. He's gonna quarantine. He's gonna get healthy, and he's gonna come back, and
he's gonna be fine. And I should say we love you, Coach.
We love you, Coach. We're pulling for you, Coach.
We're joking because the only reason we're like kind of joking about it is because he seems to be fine. Like he's doing interviews and saying he's gonna be all right. And the prognosis seems to be pretty good. So I don't mean to be making light of a serious situation, but he seems to be all right. But we hope he's well. We hope everything he recovers fine. He gets back at it. But
we need Mr. March. That's all it is.
We need Mr. March. I saw that Rothstein tweeted that Tom Izzo told him that the Michigan State point guard situation is, quote, not set yet, and that he raved about Foster Lawyer's progression. And I read that tweet and I was like, man, coronavirus really is getting to him. Like if he really believes that, like what are we doing, Coach? Is that COVID brain talking that you got Rocket Watts and Foster Lawyer?
Yeah,
like, which one of these guys should I hand the point guard position to? Are you serious?
Coach, put Rocket Watts in the game. That's all we can say. Coach, put Rocket in the game. The guy's name is Rocket. Put him in the game.
His name is Rocket Watts. I watched that.
Not dude. Foster. Rocket.
Foster, yeah, like no shit. Just like we should do a man on the street segment where you and I just walk around and go up to people. We're like, all right, if you're a college basketball coach, you could start a man at point guard. Are you picking Rocket Watts or Foster Lawyer? And they're like, well, I don't know anything else about him. You're like, that's all you need to know about him. Rocket Watts or Foster Lawyer. They're like, well, Rocket Watts. Are you crazy? Michigan State's gonna be pretty good. I like Michigan State to my bold Big Ten prediction, which isn't even a bold. One of the top 3, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa. One of those top 3 is just going to sink like a rock one of them's going to finish outside like the top 5 or 6 in the Big Ten standings. I just picture one of those teams just falling off a cliff. And I think a team like Michigan State, I think Michigan State's going to win a share of the Big Ten. I'm going to say it. I think Michigan State's going to win a share of the Big Ten. In fact, I'm saying that based off of the reaction I got so much vitriol when I said, when we were doing the Virginia rap where you were like, I don't believe in Sam Hauser. And then I said, well, he's supposed to be the better of the Hauser brothers. I had so many Michigan State fans kill me for that. Like, you're out of your mind. Sam is not the better Hauser brother. It's Joey. I'm telling you, Joey's going to be the best player on Michigan State. He's so good. Josh Langford's apparently like actually playing. Like this is a thing that
I've seen him doing interviews. He's like on watch list to be like
I know he's back, but like I thought it was just like he's gonna be like kind of a mascot and just kind of like he was last year. Like I don't.
No, he's back. He's fully back. I don't know. He's doing interviews like he's fully back.
Medicine miracle right there. You get that guy. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Good for him. I would love to see. Like he's If he can be even half.
Xavier Henry, that's all it is. That's what I'm all on the Xavier Henry train. He takes the leap. He's the Appling,
Aaron
Lucas.
Henry.
Yeah, Aaron Henry.
Xavier,
what I call
Xavier Tillman. Yeah.
yeah, Xavier Tillman.
Yeah. Aaron Henry is got to be the guy. Yeah. They lost Xavier Tillman. That's going to be the big problem for Michigan State is the big guys. They got like Thomas Kithier and Bingham, who's like 6'10", 129 pounds or something. I don't know if he's going to. I don't know.
Gabe Brown off the bench. We got the energy guy, the Energizer Bunny.
I think Aaron Henry, Gabe Brown, and Malik Hall are all kind of the same player when you watch them. Like one of them steps up every night, one of them disappears, and one of them's just okay. That's what I feel like. I mean, if all of them could step up, oh my God, they're gonna be good. But the real issue, give Rocket Watts the ball. Let Rocket cook. Is that what we're saying? Is that the let Russ cook thing with the let Rocket
go.
Let Rocket take off.
Yeah. Let him take off. Let him happen. And R.I.P. Nick Ward. That's the final thing we'll say on Michigan State.
And just Ward. In case anyone thinks we were making light of anything, Coach, get better. We love you.
Coach,
come on the show too.
Yeah.
Come on the show.